If your skin is starting to look hollow, sunken, or like you've lost volume, this episode is for you. Whether it's your cheeks thinning, under eyes sinking in, or fine lines becoming more noticeable, there are ways to plump and rebuild your skin naturally without fillers or injections. Today, we're breaking down why skin loses volume, how to rebuild fat and collagen at home, and the best non-injection treatments that actually work.
All right, let's talk about some injection alternatives that really work to help plump the skin. You know, it happens over time. You start getting hollow eyes, you start getting some sunken in areas due to collagen loss and things.
Yeah, you're losing that 1% every year once you hit 25. We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, so what can we do to help keep our skin nice and looking plump?
Well, I mean, of course, there's things that we can do at home, and we're going to talk about those. I do want to mention one thing specifically. Like, if you do have the under eye hollows, what I don't want you to do is to go and get fillers. Right. That's a no-no. Fillers are done with like hyaluronic acid injections, and they might like perfect the day you did it, but then they're going to start pulling moisture and getting bigger and moving, and now you've got bags. Don't go that route.
Right.
I would highly, highly recommend, though, that you do something like PRF, where they take your blood and they spin it and they inject it right where you need it. So at least it's your own tissues working. And I want to say, too, like when you do, like let's say that obviously has to be done in a medical establishment, a medical spa, or something like that.
Very professional.
Absolutely. And that does work. So now we do have things that you can do at home, too. And let's talk about like microinfusion for a minute.
Yes.
Because we can get as close as the orbital bone. Like let's say my orbital bone is right here is where it ends. So if you're doing needling,
and that's where the hollow
you can get that close.
For sure.
You can get that close. And I would suggest something where if I wanted to stimulate, more collagen, more growth under there, I would say, to use something like a human exosome, because that's basically like when they're like taking your own blood. They're doing a similar treatment, like what they're injecting. So if you were to do like the exosomes, you can mix it with PDRN, or you can mix it with the EHR that comes with this. Mix that. I would even possibly, because you can add the Dr. Platinum potions too. And I wouldn't fill up the tool with Dr. Platinum potions, but I might add like a drop or so of Adipofilin. And something like this is used to stimulate the expansion of the current fat cells that you have. And it works specifically on where your adipose tissues are. So it doesn't really work centrally in the face because there's not enough adipose here. It's all on these external sides here. And you can see we have like some visual documentation on like the Adipofilin page. But I would add maybe like a drop of this to my tool with my other things. And use that, do your needling. And then when you're getting close to your eye, obviously, hold this really tight. And you can do something similar at home, obviously with great caution and safety. But another ingredient that you could potentially put a drop in is maybe like the Syn-TC. This is all about stimulating collagen as well. So especially in those areas, that could be a super duper thing to do.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try that next time I shoot.
It was going to be my next question when you started talking, like, can we add the Adipofil to the microinfusion?
Yeah, and
That's
we
exciting.
have that in the direction sheet as to what things you can add. So preferred serums by Platinum Skincare. Choose from our Alchemy Suite, Dr. Platinum Potions, Nano Hyaluronic, Regenerate EGF, or Gentle Copper Peptides. When I say gentle, I'm referring to either like a CP serum or the GHK7. Now, there's already GHK in the PDRN. So there's already some in there, because I just had someone ask me the other day, well, can I add some GHK to my PDRN? And I'm like, well, there is some in there, but yes, you could add a little bit more. I wouldn't add a lot. Add like a drop.
Are you thinking the 7% GHK accelerant, that one?
Yeah, that's because other than that,
the other one's a cream.
The Super CP serum has an acid in it. And the Super Crop 2X is too strong. So that's what I'm saying. The gentle ones is either the CP serum or the GHK.
Got it.
You could add like 1 drop of each of those
Wow.
to that. And I'm thinking that's going to be like the new step up for like our custom serums that you're going to be, micro-infusing.
So injectables aren't actually necessary. There are alternatives such as these that
There
are
are.
really going to be effective.
Yeah, and of course you can use these on it. All of these can be used without the
Right.
the stamping tool. You don't have to micro-infuse them into your skin. These are meant to be applied every single day. So
Right.
you could just apply these to the area. Or I think we talked the other day about Synth-6. Was
Yeah,
it Matrixyl
Matrixyl.
Synth-6?
Yes, ma'am.
Also
Yes.
being super
Yeah.
for like around the eye area and hollows and things like that. But, these are all everyday products. They don't have to be needled in. But I think it could be really beneficial.
So we got peels, we got microinfusion,
Yep.
we have copper.
LED.
Let's talk about the LED.
Yeah, so for stimulating collagen and elastin, which is going to make your skin nice and firm and healthy, that is something that's, so simple.
Right.
So simple. You can do that, every other day. It's not even like you have to do it every single day. Do it, pop it on before you go to bed.
Excellent. What about like facial massage and things like that?
I mean, those are the main ones. I would say we could also add in like the Vis IPL. That, you can only get so close to the eye area, but you can do your entire face with the Rejuvenate handpiece. And that too can help to stimulate collagen and elastin in the skin and
Right.
help to tighten and firm things. And, whether you want to consider that a injection alternative, maybe not, but I think the idea of the tightening is going to help with that.
So with the right products, your skin can help rebuild itself, help that fat kind of fill in those areas.
Yeah.
Injections aren't necessary.
No.
There are
And-
alternatives, and we have them.
Yeah, and I would say, in all honesty, like the key one, if you're talking about like losing fat volume,
Sure.
this particular ingredient is by Lucas Meyer, and we have it in a 35% here, and this is called Adipofilin, like fill in,
Yeah.
where the fat is going. This works on adipose tissues only. So wherever those are, and I'm not, this can be used on the breast area, and I assume anywhere else you want to expand your fat tissues. I guess, as long as they're adipose tissues, because there's different kinds of fat.
Sure.
As long as it's an adipose tissue, you could use something like this every single day, and it doesn't create new fat or anything like that, but the fat you have, it will expand. And the course of time, I think it's about, their tests did about 60 days. I always think like 30 to 60 days, I think that's just too short a time.
Yeah.
I always state, 90 days, take a before picture,
Sure.
take a during picture, take an after picture, like once a month, take your picture so you can see your changes. Because a lot of times it's not going to be like huge changes. It's going to be
Yeah.
subtle. The lines are going to look a little bit less
Prominent, yeah.
prominent. Lines will fill in a little bit because, you're plumping that skin. Just like, if you gain weight,
Right.
your skin looks better. And you lose weight and your skin less loose. So, with all the weight loss going on now,
yes.
sometimes, you don't want your face to look all
Right.
gaunt and drawn.
And those laugh lines get more prominent. The lip,
Yes. Your
smoker
nasal
lines,
folds.
your around the mouth. That would be really
now,
good
I would
as well.
I would do the Syn-TC for around the mouth because there's in the middle here, and I've just confirmed this with Lucas Meyer that makes this. There's a little bit of adipose tissue around the
Okay.
mouth, but not enough to
Not
really
enough.
make a big substantial
Got it.
change. So I would work on like collagen for that. So I would do like the Syn-TC in that area. I would do TCA in that area. I would do the microinfusion in that
Yeah.
area to get the best results on the mouth area. But like for nasal folds,
Right.
that's where you want to reach for like Adipofil, or in the cheek area, under the
Right,
eye
yeah.
area. In this area, your temples can
Sure.
can cave in a little bit, as we age because we're losing all that. But yeah, these are just amazing. And you could even do a combination. We have like the 2 potion, the 4 potion. Do like a combination of these two and then just put it everywhere. Because this certainly isn't going to hurt you or harm anything if it's on a different area that it's not going to make the biggest effect on.
Oh, good to know.
But, using them together I think would be substantially wonderful. And if you still have questions, you don't have to figure it out all alone. In our Peel Nation Facebook group, we have skincare experts, experienced peelers, and a whole community ready to help. But I know that there have definitely been people in the group getting excited that some of their lines are fading back a little bit by just introducing these. And a couple of the other new ones too, like the Progeline is really good for, tightening areas.
Right.
So that works really well with these. You're tightening any kind of loose
Sure,
skin and then
sure.
filling up, with the fat. Sculpticins is another one. That is like another injection alternative
Okay.
to help plump. And you could use that in the same areas. Like you could use that in the same areas that you would use the Adipofilin. I don't think I have. Oh, yes, I do. Here's the Sculpticins. So you're thinking like you're sculpting. You're thinking like where they would, inject and sculpt an area. So it would be like an alternative to like a filler, like a,
Yeah.
I don't want to say any brand names or anything, but they're hyaluronic
Sure,
acid fillers.
sure. So to recap, microneedling is great.
Yep.
Locking in the hydration with some great hyaluronic-based products like our Dr. Platinum Potion lines with
Yes.
those active ingredients.
Yeah,
in
because
there.
those actually do have some hyaluronic in them. Epidermal growth factor and the
Yeah.
regenerate. And, when you're plumping with hyaluronic and things like that, obviously that's a little bit temporary.
Right.
It's not long term.
Sure.
But when you're using the ingredients that we are just talking about, the Adipofilin
Yes.
and the Sculpticins and the Syn-TC, that's like real tissue changes.
Right.
So that is going to be like a nice long-term thing.
For sure.
And then you can add on things like hyaluronic, the nanohyaluronic to like plump a little bit more for the
Sure.
day. Spritz some water on. Make sure you
Yeah.
put it on
Yeah.
damp skin so you get that nice plump.
And being consistent with the potions is very, very important.
Yeah, and I suggest like with your peptides, you should put them on twice a day.
Correct. Yeah.
One time is okay, but twice is definitely better.
Because they're building in the skin as you're using them.
Yes.
So you want to keep it going, and really that photo is so important.
It
Take
is.
that
It's
photo.
because it's subtle. The changes are subtle. Like you might not even, you notice you look in the mirror, you notice you look better.
Right,
But
yeah.
you don't see what it is.
For
and then
sure.
when you put this picture, this one, you can see, well, that line is actually way shorter than it used to be.
Sure.
So, but you're not going to see that until you're looking at them side by side.
Exactly.
That's why pictures are everything.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, like we were talking about how you can do that with the microinfusion tool. You can add things like the exosomes. So it can be a similar type process to when they do like a PRP or PRF where they
Right.
draw your own blood and inject that. That's a similar, definitely similar. I mean, that comes from human adipose
Sure,
tissue.
yeah.
So human adipose exosomes. You can definitely use that. Remember, we can maybe add a drop of our Adipofilin there, or the GHK, or the Sculpticins, or whatever you want. Just don't needle fully with this. I don't want
Sure.
you to do that. I just want you to add like
A drop or two.
just a drop. Yeah. Just to, because you're only filling up, 2 to 3 ml in that bottle. You don't need a whole lot of it,
Sure.
when you're doing your infusion.
So that we just talked about a lot of great alternatives.
Yeah.
I think that's great. If anybody has any questions
Yep.
or wants us to give them a custom regimen, you can absolutely email us.
Yep. Support at platinumskincare.com or call us.
Yeah, call us 1-800-917-3155 or our very exciting Platinum Skincare Gurus group.
Yeah, where there's about 37,000
Wow.
other people in that group. You can look at their
Yeah.
pictures and
amazing.
see what they're doing, and they're going to see what you're doing, and there's a lot of activity there, so that's a fun one.
Yeah, take those photos and send us your feedback.